I wasn't expecting to make a video about any patch note changes because I didn't really expect Ed to get anything, but he got a lot more than I expected, so I'm going to go over all the changes for Ed real quick. And the first one, which is a universal change, which is very important to Ed compared to a lot of characters, is they've now made it so drive reversal, you can now throw it when you block it. They gave it an extended hurt box so you can throw it. Why is this important for Ed? As you know, the common meterless punish for Ed previously is, you know, something like this, right? Mid-screen, we're doing 1700 damage, right? But with throw, 2040 damage. So it's like 300 extra damage now. And it kind of evens out the difference between characters who have a good medium punish and characters that don't. But honestly, characters that have a good medium punish still do way more damage. Some characters can do like 30-40%, you know, like Akuma, for example. So it's better than nothing, but it's still kind of a problem. But anyway, universal changes, that's the main one, and possibly the only one, I don't recall exactly. Let's look at the patch notes. These are Ed's patch notes. Firstly, we're going to do these two together because they kind of complement each other, or they cover the same thing mostly. Standing heavy kick, the advantage of standing heavy kick is changed from +3 to +4, and jumping heavy punch change active frames from 4 to 5 frames. So we'll start with jumping heavy punch. How does this change do anything for Ed? The simple answer is off of a safe jump now, this is more reliable. I'm sure if you've practiced Ed's safe jumps before, sometimes you've done jump heavy punch and like it's kind of whiffed, even though, you know, you feel like you did the right timing. This will just make that more consistent. That's what that change is about. When it comes to this move being +4 instead of +3, I think the main reason they changed this, let me just put Terry to press something on block. You have to do this setup obviously to get it plus. This is your main way to get into this button. Terry's gonna mash a 4 frame there. In the past, you would trade with stand medium punch. But now, you just win instead. So I thought that must be the change. You still get the same combo, so it's not really a damage increase. But I suppose you don't take the jab chip from the trade. And there was a couple characters where if they jabbed you there, it would push you out of range to get the trade combo. It was like 1 or 2 characters that could do that. I can't even remember who they were. So it's just a bit of consistency. Making this +4 for that frame trap. But I thought about it a bit more, and there is actually a bit more to this, but it's pretty specific, right? And also difficult, depending, right? So now that you're +4, this won't trade anymore at 7 frames, but similar to when you pull someone in with a snatcher, this will trade now. And the thing about this trading is it's +9. Before, you had +7, right? If you traded with this button. So 2 extra plus frames on the trade. What does this let you do? Firstly, you would think it would let you get into this, but it usually won't, if at all. As you can see, whiffs on crouch, right? The only time it'll work like this is if they challenge you with a standing 4 frame. Which, when you look over the list of characters, there's not that many characters who are really going to do that. It's not as useful as it might seem for that. But there is a potential bigger combo you can do, but the execution is quite hard. And I'll show that now. Alright, as you can see, if you micro walk off of this trade, it's like a 1 to 2 frame micro walk, which is quite tricky. You can actually get a stand medium punch target combo conversion, which is more optimal than doing the trade combo usually, right? So meterless anyway. So that's like a small new optimization if you really want to put the execution in for that, right? Anyway, let's move on to the next changes. The next change is jumping heavy kick. This is by far the biggest change for Ed this patch, and it's a pretty big buff, okay? Increased the blowback time from a mid-air hit, decreased Ed's air time until landing when hitting the attack from a high jump position. What has this change done? It's made Ed's jumping heavy kick a lot easier to combo off of, to the extent that you can actually combo off it on reaction now, even to normal jumps if you're early enough in your anti-air. In the past, if you wanted to combo off this against normal jumps, you would have to preemptively jump like this. You know, I'm not reacting to him jump there. I'm already jumping before he jumps to get combos like this. And you're not going to get combos like this with the new version against regular jumps anyway. But here's what you can do reactively, the kind of ideas you have. Oops. You can do stuff like this. This will work as well. Yeah, that's like a full spend. Level 2 is actually very good in this, off this juggle, because the thing with this juggle is the ones I already showed you, the special moves, stuff like this. This is like a 10 frame special, right? That's a 10 frame special, or 11 frames I think. This is 10. Right? If you can, you know, get it to hit. That's a 10 frame special, right? And this is a practical thing you can do. This is an 11 frame special, which is practical as well. Your level 2 is 8 frame startup. So it's actually your easiest kind of combo off of this, while also being, you know, your most rewarding as well. So be sure to experiment with these off of characters that do even higher jumps. You can get even bigger combos. You know what I mean? I saw Handscar do a cool one, which I'll do a version of that is not as advanced as his, but an easy version, right? You know, something simple like that as an example. Handscar's example was more advanced than that. It was more of like a delayed blitz kind of, you know, desync combo. But yeah, there's a lot you can do with this button now reactively, whereas in the past you had to be more predictive with it, unless you were fighting against certain jump moves. So great change for Ed. I don't think he really, you know, needed it that badly, but it's a buff. Let's move on to Psycho Blitz. This is this move. Adjust pushback on block when Ed attacked, when the attack is blocked near the corner. Or added pushback, I should say. I did some testing with this. It's not really much of a change. It's not going to make your move safe in the corner or anything. It's not going to, like, you're still going to get punished here by 5 frame moves. You can't really make this safe yet, but I think the point of it was to kind of, if you were a bit further out, you couldn't be throw punished, I guess. That's the only thing I can think of for why they'd make this change. But moving on, let's go back to mid-screen. Let me just set up this. Okay. Psycho Flicker, Light Psycho Flicker, which is this move. When you punish counter with it, the follow-up window is improved by 1 frame, right? So when I read this change, I was like, oh, maybe some more consistent combos are possible, which isn't really the case. If you do medium flicker, for example, you can do drive rush, crouching, heavy kick to convert off it. And I thought maybe, but you can't do this with light, usually. So I thought maybe it'll be possible with light now. They added an extra frame to kind of make it possible, but it is not possible. It still whiffs, right? The main thing this has done is it's just made the hit confirm very slightly easier, and comboing into stand heavy punch is a bit more possible, a bit further out, but not entirely further out, right? It just made that more consistent, right? But if I get... it's still going to whiff at max range, or if you're whiff punishing something even further out than that. But you get it a bit more closer than you used to, and it's a bit easier of a reaction. So that's what that change is. And Psycho Cannon. This is Ed's level 2. This is the big change. Well, it's the second biggest change, and it's a nerf, but it's really not such a big deal. They basically gave, when you do a level 2 combo now, it does 80% meter scaling, which means you gain 20% less meter than you used to while doing the combo, which is not such a big deal. Let me show you how much meter the kind of standard combo will give you now. As you can see, that's like half a super bar. In the past, you would, off that combo, you would have got 3/4 of a super bar, I would say, around that area. So you're losing like 1/4 of a super bar in that instance. Some other instances, maybe a tiny bit more, a tiny bit less. This change, it can definitely make a difference. You know, it can be the difference between killing someone and not killing someone. Having the resources to do that after a level 2 combo, or being able to level 2 and build enough meter for a level 1 kind of thing for later on. I mean, that's the main, gist of it. But like to finish the combo with, if that makes sense. But it's not such a bad change, right? Level 2 still has a million amazing things going for it. It still does big damage. It does corner to corner with full knockdown pressure. It still builds meter. It builds more meter than the vast majority of level 2s do, right? It's still really, really good, and this change is not much of a nerf. So I wouldn't stress about it if I was any of you guys. But yeah, that's all the changes, briefly, when it comes to Ed. Still thinking about what videos to make in the future, what to work on. I do want to do a video going over all Ed's important knockdowns and the kind of like pressure and mix-ups you can do to people on knockdown kind of thing, like what options you have. But that'll be a pretty big video as well, much like the combo video I did not too long ago. So I'm kind of putting it off a little bit. But if anyone has any suggestions of what kind of videos they'd like to see, let me know in the comments. And yeah.